Did you know that Friday the 13th has been feared for centuries? It's not just a random day, it's a day steeped in myth and mystery, tied to both historical and cultural events that shaped its ominous reputation. But where did this superstition originate? And why do we continue to fear it today? Let's dive into the strange and fascinating history of Friday the 13th. The fear surrounding Friday the 13th is called paraskevide, a term so long that it's almost as frightening as the superstition itself. This day has long been considered unlucky, but the origins of this belief go far beyond a mere number or day of the week. One of the most common theories traces the fear of Friday the 13th back to the Middle Ages. In the Christian tradition, Friday was the day of Christ's crucifixion, which already imbued the day with negative connotations. The number 13 also held a bad reputation due to its association with imbalance and chaos, just one number higher than the complete number 12, which symbolizes wholeness. The Last Supper, for example, had 13 attendees, Jesus and his 12 apostles, making it a significant event in Christian law that many consider to be unlucky. Judas, the betrayer, was the 13th person to sit at the table, which only fueled the fear of this number. As if that wasn't enough, the Templars, a medieval Christian military order, were accused of heresy by King Philip IV of France. On Friday, October 13, 1307, hundreds of Templar knights were arrested and executed, further embedding Friday the 13th in European culture as a day of doom and misfortune. But the superstition didn't stop there. The fear of the number 13, called triskaidekaphobia, is so deeply ingrained in Western culture that it's even influenced modern architecture. Many skyscrapers and buildings skip the 13th floor altogether, labeling it as 14 or jumping straight from 12 to 14. Even airplanes have row 13 missing in many cases. But why is Friday the 13th feared even more than other Fridays? It turns out that combining the unlucky number 13 with the already ominous nature of Friday makes for a perfect storm of superstition. In many cultures, Fridays are considered days of bad luck, or times when evil forces are stronger. When you add the 13th day of the month, it creates a double whammy of misfortune in the minds of many. Over the years, popular culture, like the famous Friday the 13th horror movie series, has only reinforced these fears, turning it into a cultural phenomenon. But what about cultures outside of the Western world? Interestingly, Friday the 13th isn't universally feared. In Spain and much of Latin America, it's actually Tuesday the 13th that holds the most ominous meaning. The number 13 in these regions isn't viewed as particularly unlucky, and the superstition surrounding it is far less widespread than it is in the United States or Europe. For Italians, the number 13 is actually considered a symbol of good fortune, while Friday the 17th holds the negative connotation in Italy. This highlights the fascinating way in which different cultures can interpret numbers and dates in varying ways, based on their own histories, beliefs, and legends. In contrast, for many Asians, the number 4 holds more power as an unlucky number, as it sounds like the word for death in several Asian languages. Yet, even in cultures where Friday the 13th isn't feared, people still experience a sense of unease or anxiety when it rolls around. The combination of myths, movies, and social conditioning has turned this seemingly ordinary day into something far more sinister in our collective psyche. Now let's talk about the psychological effect of Friday the 13th. While it's easy to dismiss these superstitions as nothing more than superstition, studies have shown that people's behavior on Friday the 13th is actually affected by the belief that it's an unlucky day. Traffic accidents, workplace accidents, and hospital visits often increase on this day, a phenomenon known as the Friday the 13th effect. It's not that the day itself has some mystical power. Rather, it's the psychological belief that makes people more prone to accidents or misfortune. For many, Friday the 13th becomes an excuse to stay home, avoid making important decisions, or be extra cautious. It's as if people feel that the day is out to get them, and so they create their own bad luck. This brings us to the idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, the belief that the more we focus on something, the more likely it is to happen. This belief can make even the most mundane events seem like signs of misfortune. But despite the fear, Friday the 13th doesn't have to be a day of dread. In fact, some people choose to celebrate the day, embracing the idea that it's a day of breaking tradition, challenging societal norms, and pushing through fears. After all, fear only has as much power over you as you give it. If you're able to look at the day as just another Friday with no more significance than any other, you might just find that it holds no power over you at all. So what do you think? Is Friday the 13th a day of doom, or is it just another part of the calendar shaped by our history and culture? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're curious about more superstitions and their origins, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one.